Welcome, everyone, to the Best of Markham podcast, brought to you by me, Igor Klibanov from FitnessSolutionsPlus.ca, your personal trainers for chronic conditions. Here with me today is Niamh from the Varley Art Gallery of Markham. Niamh, thank you so much for being here. Tell us a bit about yourself.
Okay. I was actually born in Ireland and raised there, but I came to Canada as a young adult, and I have been here a very long time. I started my life as an academic, and then moved into sort of gallery administration primarily.
And what made you decide to make the move from academia to art gallery?
Partially because of the opportunities that came up. In the 90s, I was teaching at McMaster, and at that time, I was on the acquisitions committee of the McMaster Museum. They received a major bequest to acquire works of art. I found that very, very interesting. A couple of years later, in the early 2000s, I was offered a job as director of the University of Toronto Art Centre. So I took that. And that has also been very interesting. So I've kind of been in that field since that time.
Wow, okay. And the rest is history.
Exactly. Yes.
Gotcha. And what do you like most about your work?
I think what I like most about my work is the actual proximity to art and artists.
Mhm.
Um, so we have three exhibition rotations every year.
Yeah.
And so that means we mount anywhere from five, even up to nine exhibitions a year because we have three different spaces. It usually averages about seven exhibitions. And so there is a constant rotating of seeing new works. We do have historical works, and we do value those very much. We're named for Fred Varley, a founding member of the Group of Seven. So we always have some works by him on display. But it is that constant proximity to the actual works of art themselves that has the most meaning for me.
Understood. And now, of course, Best of Markham is part of it is for residents of Markham and nearby, Stouffville, Pickering, Richmond Hill, Scarborough, to understand what's going on in this community. Part of it is also entrepreneurship. Now, I understand that this is indeed a government-owned art gallery, but you also mentioned you guys have some revenue-generating activities. So what are those?
Yeah, so just to say, we're part of the city of Markham. So we are a municipal art gallery, and our admission is free. So that's very positive. It means it's sort of barrier free access for the public. But yes, funding is always an issue for us. And so we have a range of revenue generating activities. So we run a lot of art classes pretty much most of the year. So from small children, generally on weekends, Saturdays and Sundays, kind of from the age of about 4 to 10 is what they focus on. During the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, we run art classes again for adults.
Mhm.
That tends to be mostly senior citizens just because of who has free time
Yeah.
during the week. So we have three or four rotations of those each year. Then we run curriculum-based school visits. So many schools in the vicinity send their classes to us for field trips. And then they experience the gallery, they get a tour of that, and then they also have hands-on activities in the studio. So those obviously go during the school year. So we're actually booked up now every Monday, Tuesday from now till the end of June. Then obviously that will stop in the summer, and then it will pick up again in the fall. We also run art camps. So we do have a week of art camp in March every year. We also have about a week over winter break, kind of December, between sort of Christmas and the New Year. But our main one, of course, is summer camp. So we run a minimum of 8 weeks of summer camp. We have close to 60 kids at any one time. So it's a very major undertaking. And that's really one of the single biggest revenue generators that we have each year.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah, we also have rentals. So we rent spaces at the gallery, not the exhibition space, but we have other spaces that we rent, a lobby, a main activity room, as well as our outdoors or courtyard. And we also programmed the Mackay House, which is a heritage house on Main Street, Unionville. And we rent that to artists as studio space and also for exhibitions so that artists can mount their own exhibitions there. Apart from that, we do seek donations and sponsorships, but we don't have, I think, the capacity to maximize that. Unfortunately, we would need more dedicated staff able to help us with that. There is a foundation that helps us. So, for example, we have TD Bank at the moment is our annual sponsor for free admission and exhibitions and programs, and we have several other sponsorships. We also write a significant number of grants. So every year we're on Ontario Arts Council operating funding. We get Canada Summer Jobs funding for summer staff, Young Canada Works funding quite often, again, to support, let's say, an intern. This year we got an Ontario Seniors Community Grant funding, and this year we are applying to the Canada Council for operating funding. We do get project funding. So grant writing is also quite an ongoing endeavor that we engage in.
Wow. For a municipally owned art gallery, you guys have
Yeah.
an impressive amount of revenue generating activities, more than most for-profit businesses.
Yeah. We do our best.
Good for you guys.
Yeah.
And how for the art classes and the summer camp, how do you market that? How do you get new students in or participants in those programs?
So the city has a lot of information on the city website. And so if you were going to the city, it uses a system called Explore. And so that's available on its website. Anybody can look at that. But ourselves, we have last year through a grant, we were able to get a brand new website. And so that's varleyartgallery.ca. And all of our activities are listed on that. So you can kind of find us on our website. You can also find us through the city's website. So we do have a newsletter people can sign up for. We do social media as well. We do hard copy brochure printing of a lot of our activities.
Mhm.
Selling the summer camps is not hard, actually. That often, which is true, I should say, of the museum and of the city camps in general, they actually will fill up within days of being open.
Right.
So that's good. It's some of the art classes we're finding at the moment are a bit softer. And there's a variety of reasons for that. One is just some uncertainty with the economy in general. There's also increased competition from many local private businesses who are doing very well. Also, our prices are actually set by the city, not ourselves. And so sometimes we feel they're not always competitive. And so we have to kind of figure out ways to make them sell. It's
Yeah.
also often sometimes we introduce something new. And even if it doesn't sell very well the first time, you have to kind of maybe run it a couple of times and it builds an audience kind of through word of mouth. So it might be if there's a new instructor or if there's a new program. So sometimes we like to try to give things a little bit of time to see if it works. And then if it isn't working, say, okay, that's not working. Try something else.
Yeah, I mean, I understand you guys are public, but even on the private side, as myself, as I run a personal training company, um, and I'm always testing out new marketing methods,
Mhm.
new marketing tactics, and for every success that I have, there's about 25 to 40 failures.
Yeah.
So matter of
Well, yeah,
testing and figuring out what works, what doesn't, and then if it
exactly.
doesn't work,
Yeah.
dump it and then keep testing. If it
Mhm.
works, double down on it.
Yeah. And I think everything has a natural cycle with any kind of program that you run, any event. Um, there will be a kind of a natural cycle. It'll find its audience, and then that audience will move on or will want something else.
Yeah.
So, yes, it is important to try to constantly be aware of what's going on. We find, particularly with teens, that there was a very specific kind of market for teens and younger people, young adults, but that's hard to meet. And what we find is they don't want for us to say, here's a class, come and take this class. They want to come and somehow participate in the creation of
Yeah.
something or the creation of a program. And so we work with them on that basis. So
Yeah, it's much easier to get buy-in for a program that they created themselves.
yes,
There's
yeah,
there's a sense of ownership in there.
exactly. Yeah.
And what are you working on right now that's exciting to you?
Well, we're always looking ahead to, once an exhibition is up and some of the programs around it have happened, you're kind of looking at the next one. So we have three exhibitions on right now, which are doing very well, but they will close on May the 4th. So certainly, come by and see them if you haven't seen them yet. But now, of course, we're thinking of the major summer show, which will go up towards the end of May, I think from May 24th through Labor Day. And it's the major one, it's a group of South American heritage called ZOTS, the ZOTS Collective. And so we're gearing up for that right now, thinking of the opening event, thinking of all the programs that will happen in relation to it. And also, of course, all the summer programs, a whole new cohort of summer staff coming in that have to be trained and sort of getting ready for summer camp, which will happen in July.
Wow. So lots of exciting stuff to look forward to.
Yes.
Awesome. And what obstacles have you guys encountered as an art gallery?
Funding is always issues for art galleries, trying to persuade people of their importance. I think everybody, politicians and everybody else, they think they are good. They think they are very positive. But the arts in general, as you know, in schools and elsewhere, there have been lots of cutbacks in them. Some people see them as a frill, and that therefore, if something needs to be cut, they will cut the arts, be it music or dance or theater or the visual arts. So it's constantly reminding people of the importance of the arts. And so there are many groups, for example, the Ontario Arts Council or Hill Research Strategies, which have looked at the economic benefits of the arts, quite apart from the social, the cultural significance, the community health benefits that they bring. They're actually huge players in the economy. And huge contributors in the economy. They generate billions a year in Ontario alone. And investment in the arts brings back many times sort of the amount of money that's put into it. And so culture tourists, for example, spend a lot more than, let's say, sports tourists. So people who would, let's say, come to Markham for a cultural event versus a sports event will actually spend a lot more or more likely to stay over and spread their cash around. So that's something that I think people have to be reminded of, that in a place like Markham, the arts help attract businesses. They help attract people who are looking for employers. They help attract residents. And so they are an integral part of an economic system.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I can say this as I went to a Jewish high school where they did not have a music program, but in my elementary school, they did have a music program, and I was in everything, band, jazz
Yeah, yeah.
band. So it's too bad that my high school didn't have the same music program as my elementary school. But you're right, even just looking at it from a purely business perspective, it makes a lot of sense to have an art gallery, A, because of employment, it gives people jobs. But B, yeah, people pay admissions and they classes, they go to camps, so it's just good for everybody involved.
It certainly is.
Yeah, fantastic. What do you do in your free time?
Well, I do a lot of things like visit other art galleries. I go to the theater, go to the opera, things like that. I live in Toronto, in downtown Toronto, so a lot of walking as well, as a lot of cultural attractions there are within reach, easy reach. So I do a lot of walking there as well.
Well, it makes sense that somebody who's into art galleries, no surprises there. And since this is, after all, a Best of Markham podcast, what's your favorite business in Markham besides, of course, the Varley Art Gallery?
Again, because I don't live here, there are a lot of businesses I don't necessarily interact with. So most of them are generally restaurants and cafes.
Sure.
So the Varley, we're located here on Main Street, Unionville. So of course, some of our locals that not just me, but also my team here at the Varley go to. We go to the Calabria Bakery a lot, just across the road. We go to Ambian, which is a wonderful Indian restaurant. Smash Kitchen down the road as well. Actually, just earlier or last week, in advance of some research, we were hoping to have some Latin American food at the opening of our major summer show. So we went to a newish restaurant called Le Toston, where they make empanadas and arepas. So we had some fantastic food, actually Colombian food. So I would definitely recommend that to anybody. Of course, there's so much fantastic Asian food. It's really, really hard to pick some out. But I will say, certainly green tea, I like very much. But you could, almost any of the Asian restaurants here you could recommend. So
So the name of the restaurant is Green Tea.
yes, yeah.
Okay, it's not that you like the dish. You
No,
just,
no, no. It's called green tea, and it's a kind of there is a small chain of them. I don't know if there are many here, but there is one here in Markham.
yeah, yeah. There is no shortage of places to eat
Yeah.
in Main Street, Unionville. I think you might be the second guest who's recommended Smash Kitchen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you've just given me, my wife and I, we're big foodies. We like to try
Okay.
new places, new restaurants to eat. So you've just given us a nice long list.
Okay. Very good.
Awesome. And lastly, how can our viewers and listeners get in touch with the Varley Art Gallery?
Well, certainly the easiest way is to look at our website. So that's www.varleyartgallery.ca. So we're very easy to find. All the staff contacts are there. Under programs, you'll find out about our art classes and camps and so on. And also schools programs. There's an exhibition page, tells you what's on, what's coming up. So that's the easiest way to get hold of us.
Perfect. And that link will also be in the description associated with this show. Uh,
Okay.
Niamh, thank you so much for this interview. I really appreciate it.
Okay, it's my pleasure. Thank you, Igor.
Good thing.